Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Project. In this module, I want to have a look at sprints, using sprints and boards. If you're used to using projects using Agile or Kanban or Scrum, you may be more familiar with boards than this sort of list. So in Project, you can activate those features. So first of all, let's go and get the sprint. So go view, other views, more views, and sprint planning board is what I want. In fact, planning sheet, sorry, apply that. So it's come up with a sprint column. There's no sprints allocated, so I need to add some sprints. So when you come into this, you've got one sprint, 2 weeks duration, but if I want to put this down to add sprint, add, just change a few of these, add, and so on and so on. So you just create your sprints there, and you've got your start and finish dates that you can change if you so wish, but I'm just going to leave everything as default for now. Click OK to that. Now, as soon as you do that, you see this tab appear, sprints, where you've got a task board, which tells you percentage complete, etc. And you can set that. If I just set this to 25, set complete 50, and that's 100. Let's add a new column. Still going, and set the complete to 75 on that one. So obviously that's now in the wrong place. So if I right click on that, I can move it to the left, and then it's in the right sequence. So that's how you can do that. And then these basically would just move across, and you would just drag and drop these. And if I right click on these, you can mark these as 100% complete. You can double click into it, you can delete them, you can assign resources. Well, resources are already on there, you can see that already. Now if I go back to the next one, planning, so these are the sprints that you've set up, these are the tasks that you've got. So they're the same tasks as that you have in your Gantt chart, but now you've got them in your sprints, which I can't find now. That's it. Okay, you can add these views into this list. That's what I was looking for there, because I've already done this once and I put them all down here. So basically it's a case of putting these across into the relevant sprints that you've set up. It's just a case of dragging and dropping them, really. And you don't have to allocate them to a sprint. I'll just do that bit. Manage, that will take you back to this percentage complete option, and then that will allow you to add extra sprints. Okay, so what I've done is in sprints, I've noticed that this one is set to April. That's why nothing's coming up on the first sprint. So I should have changed the project start date, and this is probably going to cause a bit of grief now if I try and change this to today. Nothing's jumped out at me, but this probably has caused a bit of grief. If I go into manage, it hasn't changed that first date, but I'll put that to, let's put that to the 19th of October, Monday the 19th of October. So they've all changed now, so that should fix that, but that's why there's been nothing coming on to sprint 1. So if I go into the planning sheet, I've put everything back to no sprint. So I'm just going to go back through that. I'm not going to use sprint 1 because obviously it's gone into the past. So starting off with sprint 2. So these are going to be on sprint 2, for example. Then this one is going to be sprint 3, and these are just going to follow on 4, 5, 6, and the last one can be 6 as well. Now obviously you can set as many as these up. These are weeks, remember, you can set these up to multiple weeks, so you may not have that many sprints. But if I click onto the sprint, the current sprint is sprint 2. If I go to, so that's today's date, that's why it's coming up with that, that's in the past. Sprint 3, there's only a couple of tasks on there. Well, I'll go to sprint 6 because there's 2 on there as well. So then you can go to the current sprint board, which will show you only the tasks that are due this week, and then you can move these across into the relevant place. And if I go to no sprint, it just shows there's nothing in no sprint. And then back to this one, back to manage if you need to add extra ones. And then if I go to the task board, you can then start moving these around if they're complete. Now if I right click on these, I've already shown you this, but you can mark them complete there. But if you do mark them complete, you should have moved them into that column there. But if I go back to current sprint board, this is really where you should be doing this. So this is the stuff for this week. So if I say that is complete, you get a little tick coming up as soon as I drop it in there, and I'll come across and do that and say that's complete as well, and I get another little tick. So basically you're using project, not really using the Gantt charts as your main driver, but you are using, I'll just get the task to come back across, you're using the boards through the sprints tab to update things. You can see it's already updated them in there. They weren't done like that before, but now because I've moved them across on here and saying they're complete, they are complete. And if I'll go back to the current sprint this week, you can see that those 2 are showing there. So basically using the sprint feature, you are creating a sort of filter for your project plan, and you're only looking at the tasks that are allocated to that particular sprint, and then the board will allow you to see how everything is going all together. But the sprints you can isolate like so. There's awarded tenders completed, and if I just put that across there as well, that'll complete. So that should now have made 4 tasks complete on the Gantt chart, which it has done, which is great. So it's a different way of working in project, but it's all to do with how you work as a project manager and what you're used to. Some people find working like this with a Gantt chart quite difficult. It's not easy to see, where when you're looking at sprint boards, it's a lot more easier to see and you're only looking at a small element. I suppose the downside for me would be you're not looking at the big picture perhaps, whereas in a Gantt chart you can have multiple projects linked in and you are seeing a big picture. Although the boards themselves, it's just how your mind works, I suppose, what you find easier. But that's all I wanted to show you, how to get the sprint. So just a quick recap, you went through the view tab, other views, more views, and then the sprints are in here. Sprint board, sprint planning board. But as soon as you create some sprints, your sprints tab will activate, and then you can use it. Depending on what version of project you've got, you may already have the boards down here. And for those who do stuff with me or follow me, you know that I always right click and tick this view bar on. I just find it easier to see this list. However, having said that, it does get a bit cluttered when you start adding lots of different views in, but it's what you're used to, I suppose. But this sprints tab gives you all that you need to see really. You've got the format options. You can customize these cards to show extra fields. So you can tick that. Let's do percentage complete actually in there so you can see it, even though you're putting it into a column. And then I'll say what the actual start date was. That's a nice one to know. So you've got five extra columns that you can put in here. I always like to see actual cost actually. So if I click OK to that, the boxes are going to get bigger, the cards are going to get bigger, but you now see extra information. Looks better. I'm liking that a lot. Very pretty. Let's put that in there. Alright, but that's the end of this little session on sprints and cards. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one.